Well guys, thought I better put a video together just showing you how to use your tong / clamp meter or multimeter. So I did a video up just explaining for people how to check their caravan when they go to pick it up, or just check things are charging properly. And I had a multimeter in my hand just saying to buy one of these so you can use it on the road. So just quickly though, look where we are. So this is Forbes and it's like a free camp on the river, and it is like insanely good, really good. So you just got to be fully self-contained, and you can pull up here and yeah, heaps of people walking along the path. But anyway, let's get straight into it. So I'll show you the multimeter and I'll hook it up to my car, and I'll show you the charging power going into the caravan. Let's get started. So don't mind Tanya, she's doing a bit of yoga behind us. It's good to get out and do your exercise first thing in the morning so it's done right. So this is the meter that I bought. I think it was about $200 online. It's a KAIWEETS meter, and honestly it does the job fine for being on the road. If you want to spend more money on a meter, that's completely up to you, but like I said, this was about $200 and it does everything that I need. So as you can see, we have amperage, voltage. It does hertz, but you're not going to have to worry about that on DC. It does do ohms or resistance, and you can do a beep test. It does take temperature as well, so it comes with a temperature probe, which might be pretty handy for you. And then it has some other functions, but I won't worry about those in this video. Now this one here is a hall sensor type, which allows you to be able to do DC. But the other type is like a transformer style, which is a bit different, but I think it only does AC only. So that's the most important thing to check. So I don't know if you can see very clearly, but if it's not clear, I'll put a picture up. Just above the A there is a wave line, which means it'll do AC. And then also there is a flat line, which means it will do DC. So that would be the most important thing. When you go to purchase one of these meters, make sure you purchase one that will do DC if you're looking to use it on your 12 volt stuff. Definitely very important. Check out that it will do DC, and most of these types of meters will actually do voltage and other functions as well, but yeah, just important to know. As you can see, this one says AC DC clamp meter, and it also comes with this carry case as well, which most of them will, but yeah, I recommend keeping it in the case all the time just so it looks after it. And there's your leads as well, so that you can take voltage. But yeah, there you go, that's the clamp meter that I have purchased. So there's a few ways that you can do this. You can see that on the back of my car here, I have a 125 amp Anderson plug. Now the reason I put this Anderson plug on, such a big one, is because I didn't want to have large voltage drop issues from charging all the way at the front of my car from my alternator or my starter battery. I've got a big cable, I've got 50mm squared that runs to here, and then it goes through this 125 amp Anderson plug, and then I come up and go through the loom I've made here. These is all the positive cables, so I've got a multi-core cable which works out to be about 50mm squared running to the charger, and then I also have this here which I've used the chassis for the negative. But basically all you want to be able to do is clamp onto the positive cable, and it will tell you the amperage going to your battery. Obviously once I start the car and the alternator cranks up and starts putting charging power into the charger. The issue I have here is this is all covered in tape, so what I'm going to do is go inside the caravan and we'll put this directly onto the cable going into the charger. So for example, if you need to take the amperage of a cable like this one for instance, which is my fridge, you can see that I have the positive here. So all I would need to do is pull back the conduit that I have running to this plug, just so I can get my clamp meter around this red cable. One thing you have to be aware of is to make sure that the clamp meter actually gets the chance to close properly. It's not sort of held open or something by the cable, but yeah, that's as simple as it is. Okay, so here we are in the caravan, and this is my DC to DC charger here, and you can see that we have this cable here runs into the positive terminal of my DC to DC charger, and then I also have the negative here. But what we want to do is we want to get the clamp meter to clamp around the positive cables running in, so we can see how much current is actually going into the charger. So what I'll do is, this is all the cables which are positive. I've got a bunch of cables, but for you it'll probably just be one cable that runs into your charger or onto your battery, whatever you're wanting to measure the current of. So if I just clamp that on, make sure it's on there, clamped closed, and then I'll go ahead and turn this to amperage. and you can see here that it's actually saying 0.07, so you can zero it if you would like. So I've zeroed it. Now I'll go and start up the car and we'll actually see what we get running into the charger. Okay, you can see that I now have the car running and we actually have 40 amps going into the charger. So this is a really simple way of obviously just going and clamping onto the cable. So we're back to zero. We're back to zero. I just go ahead and clamp on my meter, and you see it will pick up the amount of amps running into the charger. Now just remember, the car's only at idle here, but there's 41 amps going into the charger. And then we can also check the amperage coming out. So if we look at my phone here, so I'm not sure how clear that is, but you can see that we have 28 amps going into the batteries. Now I am using a little bit of power in the van with the lights on and things like that, so there should be about 30 amps heading in, and that probably works out pretty good. I have turned my solar chargers off, so there's no power coming in from the solar charger. But you can see the car is now up to 43 amps heading into the DC to DC charger. So this is just a really good tool to have with you on the road, so you can clamp onto any cable and just see the amount of current that's actually going into your chargers or going into a battery or something like that. Yeah, really recommend having that with you on the road. Now we'll go ahead and quickly just check the voltage as well, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so if you want to use it as a multimeter, obviously you just put red into input and black into common, and then I'll have my two probes as well. And what we will do is we will measure the voltage. Now obviously voltage needs to be measured across terminals, whereas current you need to actually clamp onto the cable itself. So all I'm going to do is turn my meter to volts, and you can see it's actually, I've got it set on volts DC. So if your meter's not automatic, you need to make sure you've got it set on AC or DC. And I'm going to take positive to positive and negative to negative. So you can see it's saying about 13.2 volts. And obviously the alternator is fluctuating because the car's only sitting at idle at the moment. And we can check the voltage coming out as well. Positive to positive, negative to negative. And then we have 13.6 volts heading to the batteries. Now obviously if I was to put these probes around the wrong way, so take positive to negative, negative to positive, it just gives you a negative sign there. So that's a good way that you can test polarity. Well, I hope that's sort of given you a bit of a better understanding on how to use one of these. So clamp meter, tong meter, this one here is also a multimeter as well. Really simple, quite easy to use. Just clamp it on the cable that you want to measure the current running through, and yeah, it'll give you a reading. Like I said, if you're going to be using it on automotive stuff, just make sure you get the DC one, otherwise it won't work for you. Yeah, anyway, that's it pretty much. Hope that was nice and simple and straightforward, and have a good rest of the day, and I'll catch you in the next vid.